Hey everyone, and welcome to Forex Majors, the show where we look at the opportunities that could be setting up in the major currency pairs for the day ahead. Before we go any further, please remember that the content of this video is for educational purposes only. Nothing that we talk about here is a trade recommendation in any way whatsoever, and you still need to go away and do your own analysis and decide for yourselves whether or not the trades are right for you. I'm simply talking to you about what I'm looking to trade for the day ahead. Okay, so let's start by looking at the Australian dollar. Now, the Australian dollar is an interesting one. As you can see here on the 4-hour chart, just to give us a bit of context, you can see that the market has been moving lower. So lower highs and lower lows all the way down. The market just recently pulled back to a previous level of support, which then acted as resistance. Well, we got a nice bounce off of that level. And now the market is playing with this trend line, which is better seen on the 60-minute chart. We go over here eventually. Now the market is playing with this trend line over here, and what I'm looking to do, obviously we could take a bounce from this trend line, but I think looking at this price action here is probably more likely that we get a breakdown. So I'll be looking for a strong close beneath this trend line on a 15-minute chart. So if I jump across over here, so a strong close beneath this trend line on the 15-minute chart, and then we will look to take a short opportunity below here. Obviously our stop will be placed just above the highs, and our target realistically, if we go to, let's say, the 1-hour chart, our target really has to be these lows over here at the 0.7313. Moving on to the euro dollar. So again, zooming out to get a little bit of context, we can see that the euro dollar has been moving down for quite some time. It's just recently pulled back to a previous level of support, which then acted as resistance. Yes, the market broke through it somewhat, but then it broke back down. The market then had another attempt at it, and it's broken down again, as you can see here. So the market is like very, very strongly closed beneath that level and sold off from that level there with those two very bearish candles. If we then were to zoom into the 15-minute chart, we can see that what we would be looking for here is a bit more consolidation. So perhaps some sort of a pullback towards the 100 moving average here. And once we get to that pullback, which I don't think will be in the trading day ahead, to be honest with you, it might be a few days from now. But ultimately, once we get that pullback, we'll then be looking for a shorting opportunity. If we look at the pound dollar, so the pound dollar is in a bit of a range at the moment. If we zoom out here, you can see it's moving, gyrating up towards the top and then down towards support, up towards resistance, and now it's coming down towards support. And what we're expecting is initially some sort of a bounce. Now, obviously, we have a lot of momentum to the downside, so it can't be a surprise if the market does break this support level to the downside. But I think that what we'll get first of all is some sort of an initial bounce there. So what I would be looking to do is on the shorter term time frames, like the 15-minute chart, for example, is play a little bit of a bounce, not all the way up to the top of the range. I don't think we'll get that, but certainly sort of maybe towards the previous high or the previous low, wherever that may be. At the moment, it's in sort of like the first third of the range there. But that's how I'll look to play that. So we've got to wait for the market to get down to this level. Remember, we don't just take trades for the sake of it. We have to wait for the market to show us its hand before we take it. But being prepared and looking for levels like this, obviously make sure that we're stacking the odds way, way, way in our favor. Looking at the New Zealand dollar, eventually when it loads. So the New Zealand dollar is, if we look at this on the longer term chart, as you can see there, the market sold off from this level here. It then just pulled back a little bit. It sold off again. Previous level of support there, which is wonderful. The market then pulls back to it. And we got a nice trade here at the previous level of support becomes resistance. So we got a nice trade down there. The market then pulled back a little bit and is now playing with this trend line, which doesn't look like much of a trend line on the 4-hour chart. But if we go and take a look at this on the 15-minute chart, for example, you will see that it is actually really quite a valid trend line with 3 touches there. So 1, 2, 3 touches. What we would be looking for here, we've got the rest of this price action showing us that it wants to go lower. So we'll be looking for a strong close beneath this trend line. Once we get the strong close beneath this trend line, we will be sellers looking for the selling opportunities, obviously. And we will then be looking to trade this even beyond this previous level of support there. And basically trading into fresh air. So that's what's on our mind for there. The dollar franc is a little bit more difficult. So if we look at the dollar franc, The market is moving up. It's respecting this upward sloping trend line. So 1, 2 touches. The market came back towards it, didn't quite get there, but then we've got these very, very strong bullish candles over here, which kind of tells us that perhaps the market is looking to retest these highs. Ultimately, what we want to do is when the market gets up to these highs is that we want to look for selling opportunities. But I wonder, not now, but I wonder if we get a bit more consolidation here, a bit more sideways price action and then a break up, there might be a good opportunity to buy the market up towards that resistance level before we then sell it back down. The dollar yen has paid us really quite nicely as we were looking at this trade here where the market was bouncing up. We took a couple of long opportunities. Now it looks like the market's a bit of a runaway market. I think that ultimately, if we look at this on the longer term basis, we are coming up to some resistance levels. So, and I say long term, in the next few days, when the market gets to this level, we will be looking to sell from this level. But in the interim, I think similar to the dollar franc, it might be a case of trying to kind of play the way that price is attracted to key levels. So if we get a bit more consolidation here, I won't just buy the market here, that's chasing it. If we get a bit more consolidation, maybe a pullback towards the 100 moving average, followed by another bullish move, I will then be looking to take that trade up towards resistance there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this episode of Morning Majors. I hope you're enjoying all of them. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please follow me on Instagram if that's where you're watching it, or subscribing on YouTube if that's where you're watching it. Really trying to build the following here, so that would be really, really greatly appreciated. And of course, share this with anybody that you think is going to enjoy it or find some value in it as well. Okay, so until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you soon.